birth. Probably my mother dying when I was 9, then joining the church when I was 17, then marrying my love of my life.
Who was that?
How old were you when you got married?
Almost 21.
Almost.
2 months short.
That's called 20.
I was closer to 21 than I was to 20.
Were you
It meant that
almost
legally I
ready
had to
to
get
get
permission from her father.
Yep.
Yeah,
Anyway,
well, she was too young to even go to the bar.
good.
Oh, Grandpa has to do that too. That 3 events most shaped your life.
So my mother wasn't a member of the church, and my father was inactive. And we had lived, I was born in Grand Prairie, and at one point we're living in Cardston from the time I was 2 till my dad died when I was 6. And my grandmother and grandfather lived in Cardston, and I'm sure they had some spiritual influence on me. But the lady across the road took me to primary. That must have had a pretty significant influence on me. Some of that, I don't know which. But then when my dad died, we went with my Aunt Edna in Picture Butte from middle of December till the middle of February. And so I would have gone to church then. So then when we're living up with my grandfather, and I'm 9, I asked my mother one day how old you had. I guess it had to be significant. How old you had to be baptized? And she told me 8. And I cried and cried and cried. I'd missed it. Anyway, to make a long story short, that was in the wintertime. In the wintertime, in that summer, we moved back down to Picture Butte and lived with my aunt. Rather snurfing. And I was baptized shortly after we arrived. So that was number 2. Number 3. Maybe there's more than 3. Number 3 was my first year of university wasn't what you'd call an outstanding scholastic success. And so the following fall, after I'd finished work, I had 3 jobs lined up. One was on a porter on the train, traveling between Winnipeg and Vancouver. Another one was working on the Dew Line up in the Arctic. And another one was on a tramp steamer that would go all the way around the world, and it'd take a year to go around the world, and I'd finish with my seamanship papers. The institute director was also the branch president, Monty Nyman, and you might have read some of his books and that since after he was there. Anyway, he and the mission president, and the mission office was in Edmonton at the time. They called me to go on a mission.
And that was number 3?
3A.
3A.
And I was pretty naive in the church. I was 18 at the time, so that was tough to go on a mission. So So I went into the Western Canadian Mission, and there were probably about 15 or 20 of us that did the same thing. Ellis Stonehawker's brother was one. And, there were several others. Brent McMullen, Terry Rollins. There was a bunch of us that were friends. And anyway, I'm in Victoria, and they split the mission. Now I'm in a foreign mission, and I'm 18. So they said, "You're going back to Saskatchewan." And I said, "I don't think so. That wasn't the deal." So they got permission from Salt Lake for me to stay there. And anyway,
Rebel. Anyway, I didn't make the top 3.
we're in chronological order, dear.
Oh.
It's only a 3A.
3B was when I married you.
Oh.
Well, that was a short story for 3B.
Next question.